What advice would you give? There's so many. I see these young kids, and it's so cool to see it. You got the Guggen Squad. These guys have blown up on YouTube.
Oh,
it's crazy. I've met Alex Perrick, one of the Guggen Squad. He was a nice guy. They've got a crazy following, and they've young kids aspiring. There's all kinds of new aspiring professional bass fishermen. What advice would you give to someone that wants to do what you're doing?
So, yeah, you're totally right. And those dudes have found an amazing avenue and path for themselves, and they're getting to do what they love. I can't speak to the production side like they can't, speaking from a tournament fishing perspective, the best advice I can give is to put fishing first, right? And I didn't get back around to answering what you had. I missed several of the questions you've asked me, just going off on other tangents. But you would ask what advice do you give kids that are looking to get into getting sponsorships and stuff like that? And where's the balance there? What should the balance be? And honestly, when you're that young, 100% of it should be on the fishing. You first off have to learn how to love fishing. And if you're, a 13-year-old kid and you go out and have a not great tournament, you shouldn't have to get on social media and apologize to your sponsors. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to speak to that. You should just be like, okay, well, hey, I learned these lessons and let's move on to the next one. There should be no pressure from sponsorship on how you go out there and compete. And no matter what you say, the minute you start adding sponsorship into what you're doing, there's more pressure. There's pressure already, but there's more pressure. And even now, I love it. I'm thankful to have the sponsors I have. But hey, man, there's a lot of dudes that would want the sponsors that I have, right? And they're great fishermen, and they're ready. As soon as I slip up, they're going to take it. And that's a lot of pressure, man. Even though I'm not worried about paying my bills tonight, if I go out and have a bad year or I don't do the things that I need to be doing on the marketing side, that's a lot of pressure, man. So, delay that as long as you can. Focus on learning to love the sport, have fun with your buddies, fish with a lot of different people, learn all the techniques. Focus on learning how to fish, because even if you are lucky early on and you land the dream sponsor, if you can't back it up on the water and consistently catch enough fish to get media exposure, it's not going to last. And so ultimately, if you can become a really good fisherman first and learn that stuff as you go, the rest will take care of itself. And that's what Skeet Reese has given me some super, super incredible advice over the years. And that was one of the things he told me right off the bat was fishing comes first. If you're catching fish, everything else comes really easy. You just be yourself and catch fish. And it sounds easy, and it's not that easy to just be yourself and catch fish. But if you can do that, things come easy. And the years when I'm really catching fish, things come a lot easier. And the years when I'm not catching them as well, things are a lot tougher. So you got to put fishing first. You don't see the next high school stud football player, sophomore in high school. He's not on social media trying to, promote Nike or Adidas or anything like that. He's on the field, and he's in the weight room and he's practicing. And I don't understand why fishing is so different than that. I mean, do you have any idea why fishing comes across so differently and everyone tries to jump in so early on this side?
Yeah, I don't know. I've not really thought about that. That's a good point. But yeah, you gotta. There's so much to learn, and I think it's important that you focus on fishing as much as possible. I wanted you brought up Skeet Reese. Skeet Reese had one of the most incredible streaks in fishing, bass fishing, and it was I think it was in early 2000s, mid 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. I asked him about it, and he said that something happened where he missed the Classic or something. Do you remember any of that year? Something weird happened. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he told me that he actually had to see a sports psychologist about it because having a year like that and then going and I can't remember exactly, but it just shows you how intense he is and how seriously he takes, his fishing, that he actually saw a sports psychologist. It was like, I need to get this taken care of. I can't have this in my brain. There was something going on where he was like mentally screwing himself up. Has he ever talked to you about that at all? I wish I could remember it better.
Not that exact story, but like he's one of those guys that just when he can operate naturally, that's when he's in his best state, right? Like when he goes with the flow, he's having fun. And it sounds like he got in his own head, right?
Yeah, it was something along those lines. But what I was originally going to say is that I don't know that there's anybody better at how do you say this? Just being a marketer and business, relationships with sponsors and value, knowing your value and knowing how to negotiate. I just look at Skeet. Skeet's got enough. I don't know exactly, of course. But I would say that Skeet's probably got one of maybe the best sponsorship. What do you call that?
Portfolio, maybe.
Portfolio. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word, but I don't know of a better angler, that with this, that kind of a sport sponsorship portfolio.
If you were to talk to him and just kind of hear like the accomplishments he's made, like in the business world, it's incredible, man. I look up to him a ton for who he is as a person, but for that, and he it's not like I sit down with him every week and talk about this kind of stuff, but man, he's told me, especially early on, just some key things like that have like just rung true. Time after time after time, man. He's a very smart guy.
Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you've enjoyed our content, please consider subscribing to Another Fishing Podcast on iTunes, which is available also on just about every major podcasting platform. We'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Angling Uploaded. And for exclusive benefits, become a member on Patreon. So go to patreon.com and search Angling Uploaded, become a member. Oh God, we'd love you if you do that. Thanks, guys.